Assalamualaikum teman-teman, jumpa lagi sama saya Hasnul Insani Johar. Kali ini part yang kedua dari bagian video saya yang membahas tentang making home Indiana Abu Jabar Crescent. Part yang kedua ini kita fokus on how the protagonist Sirine struggle to search for a home in order to negotiate their identity and also to question American belonging. Nah, saya ceritain sedikit ya teman-teman tentang Sirine ini, biar dapat idea tentang apa sih novel ini, Crescent ini. Ya, Making Home Indiana Abu Jabar's Crescent Part 2, Searching for a Home, published in 2003. So Abu Jabar Crescent tells the history of Iraqi-American woman Sirine, who has been an orphan since she was 9 years old. So her parents passed away when the work at Crossroad Nation in Africa. So by losing her parents in an unknown country at early age, Sirine understands how her identity is broken from her origin, Iraq, where her parents were born, in Africa, where her parents died. So both Iraq and Africa are places that Sirine never visit. By having this broken bond with her parents, Sirine understands that she doesn't belong to any countries, including the US, where she was born. As she say that, so this is the quote, what Sirine say about her identity and her home. So quote, "I guess I'm always looking for my home," unquote. So the sense of unbelonging can also be seen through the way that the narrator describes Sirine didn't see her uncle home, where she has lived since she was orphan, as her home. So for Sirine, home is just as mysterious and as an uncertain place where she feels alien and unwelcome. Therefore, she needs a place where she can be taken in, as like in the Mediterranean restaurant, where she works and spends almost her days. So in Diana Abu Jabar Crescent, Sirine has been raised by her uncle for almost 30 years and has worked at various restaurants in Los Angeles, yet she still feels lonely and unhomely while living in the US. Only when she works at the Mediterranean restaurant does Sirine feels at home. So she can join together in the loneliness of the various immigrants, especially Arab immigrants. Sirine's uncle is a storyteller and a professor at UCLA in the Northeastern Department. So Sirine is now 39 years old and working as a chef at Mediterranean restaurant. So she imagines her workspace, which is restaurant, as a missing home, as the omniscient narrator described as follows, quote, "So Arab feel everything, larger than life, feelings walking in the sky, and sometimes when she is awake in the center of the night cool and succulent as heart of palm or a little chicken kebab. Sirine sensed these feelings rushing in her own blood. But she was also born with an abiding sense of patience and ability to live deeply and purely inside her own body, to stop thinking to work and to simply exist inside the simplest actions like chopping an onion or stirring a pot." So when Sirine feels the cool of the night representing her loneliness, she just remembers a little chicken kebab, which is warm and delicious, that she cooks at the restaurant. So by contrasting the feeling of cold with the warmth of the chicken meat, Sirine can create a sense of comfort, like feeling at home, where she belongs. This can be understood as the reason for her preference for working as a chef at the Mediterranean restaurant, to create a sense of warm feeling. She also enjoys her working as a chef because her work is, quote, So this is the quote. Yeah. So she enjoys working in the restaurant because her work is to simply exist inside the simplest action like chopping an onion or stirring a pot. So onions can create a sense of warmth and can make food more delicious. So she stirs them together with other ingredient in the pot. You see this onion there? So indeed, the pot represents Sirine's empty heart, which is longing for her parents, for her home, for her homeland. And moreover, the kitchen is represented as a place where Sirine can explore her parents' legacy through their traditional food and recipes. This can be related to Virginia Woolf, A Room of One's Own. Woolf argues that, quote, a woman must have money and room of her own if she is to write fiction, unquote. So Woolf uses the term of money and a room as powerful tools for women in creating pieces of art, novels being written mainly by men at the beginning of the 20th century. So by relating to Woolf's assertion, we can understand how Abu Jaber not only produces her own room for Arab American writing, but also creates another piece of art in cooking through her protagonist Sirine. So indeed, Sirine struggled both to find her own home and to establish her own identity while living in the US. So in order to fulfill her basic needs of home and actualization, Sirine uses the kitchen as her own space to earn a living and share loves. So another quote we can see here. Nah, so significantly, there are some scholars such as Amelia Montes 2006 and also Lorian Mercer and Linda Strom 2007 who examine Crescent from various perspectives such as womanhood, immigration, food culture, but not many of them focusing on the idea of making home, which my presentation seeks to explore. So Montes argues that the spice-filled aromas within Nadia's cafe bring expatriates, immigrants into a place that allows for respite from longing of, as well as a matriarchal community of sort, unquote. Although Montes discussed the cafe in her review, she mainly focused on how women in the novel, such as Umi Nadia, Marillion, and Sirine, are depicted in such a way as to defy common stereotypes in the media, submissive and hidden. Indeed, Arab or Muslim women are depicted as financially and socially independent. Umi Nadia is the owner of the Mediterranean Cafe, and Marilyn is a strong-willed woman, and Sirine, the protagonist, is a single and chef at 39. So Sirine also uses her workspace, especially the kitchen, as her own room to connect her with her boyfriend Hanif. So Hanif is often referred to Han, is a new and young professor in Near Eastern Studies at UCLA, where Sirine's uncle also teaches. So the omniscient narrator writes when Han asks Sirine, quote, "What makes a place feel like home for you then?" So Sirine replies that work, and work is home for me, end quote. So by referring to her work as a home, it can be understood that Sirine is longing for her own space to understand where she belongs in. In the kitchen, she can explore many recipes and creates various kinds of meals and desserts, exploring her own sense of self. The need for Sirine to establish her unique identity while living in the US can be understood through the way she feels that her real home is uncertain. Thus, she needs to find someone who can understand her situation and feelings to establish her own identity. So in doing so, Abu Jaber represents Sirine as sharing her longing for home. So quote, "Yeah, I guess I'm always looking for my home a little bit. I mean, even though I live here, I have this feeling that my real home is somewhere else somehow. Indeed, Sirine doesn't feel that the US is her home, despite the fact that she was born there. She not only searches for a homely place, but importantly, a person who is in a similar route to her, with whom she can build a new home and family. So in this part, actually, my point is I try to in Indonesia, so you get understand. So searching for a home, relating with this, how the protagonist or the narrator represent food and a blood together in order to, maybe I can argue that in order to question how the Muslim American, Arab American struggle to live in the US, representing blood representing, let's say oppression or violence. So this is to, in order to negotiate identity as a Muslim living in the US. So please stay tuned, guys, and next week we will. And next video, we will focus on the third part of this novel, about memory and nostalgia in Diana Abu Jaber Crescent. So please stay tuned, like, and subscribe. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.